All right, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Serap, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to promptly set up a presidential panel of inquiry to thoroughly, impartially, effectively, and transparently investigate spending on all social safety nets and poverty alleviation programs and projects executed between 2015 and 2022. A recent report by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) shows damning revelations that some 133 million Nigerians are poor, despite the government reportedly spending 500 billion naira yearly on social investment programs. Half of all poor people in the country are children, according to the report. We still have Mazi Chinedu Monora right here with me, and he will be reviewing this story with us. Now, talking about this one, my first question is, isn't it damning that this particular report came in while this government is still on seat? What does that say?
My name is Mazi Chinedu Obiora, not Obiora.
Obioha.
Obiora.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay. It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate, very sad. It leaves much to be desired. This is a country we call Nigeria. Those of us that have seen 50s, we saw 50s through now. We've never seen a country that is as corrupt as this country, especially the level of corruption between 2000 and between 1999 through now. But it became worse between 2012. Yes, let me be fair. 2012 through now, because when Jonathan was there, he was very careless. And unfortunately, do you know what happened? It's not the presidents or the presidential candidates of these parties that are committing this evil. They are lieutenants. Now, during the lockdown, I was in studio as well, and when they said they were going to feed school children, they mentioned millions of naira, billions of naira. And I asked this question: which children? Children that are in their house, in their homes, their parents, and which excuse me, which parents will allow you to come and feed his or her child or children while at home? In the southeast, I didn't see any of the schools being fed. I didn't see. Here, I didn't see. You mentioned 500 billion naira already spent. Where did it go? Now, last week we discussed about the poverty level.
Yeah. And
the same, I think one organization said that out of 200 million Nigerians, 133 Nigerians are poor. Remember, there was a time, again, there was a report that Nigeria is the headquarters of poverty in the world. If such amount has been expended, to who? Who are the beneficiaries? Whom do they feed?
So what could be the issue now?
The issue is that it has gone the same way. It has gone the same way. The same thing, all this money that are being used to rescue those kidnapped. The same way. It's just like your accountant or whoever should know impressed. You don't investigate impressed, provided you'll be able to give yes, this is the breakdown, this, nobody will come and investigate it. That is what is happening.
Okay, my question
is, the question you ask me is this: it is worrisome.
Yep.
It is unfortunate. It is unacceptable. But what can the righteous do if the foundation is weak?
Okay,
the righteous cannot do anything. Who will investigate? Who will prosecute? Who will now?
I don't want us to just, conclude that this is about corruption.
But you have to do.
Yes,
what does it come?
We have to analyze.
If you don't, look, if you don't say it's corruption unlimited, what do you say?
All right, let me come in here. So I want us to look at this now. Is it the case that the projects they have embarked on are not the project they should embark on? What exactly is the problem? Is it that the school feeding is not the way to go, rather than school feeding, or rather than the conditional money transfers? Are they supposed to have training?
I've never heard that
are they supposed to have technical colleges or
took the responsibility of feeding children in school? I've never heard that. Now, what about the money? Is it money?
Market
money. Traders money. God bless you.
Yes. Then conditional transfer.
Now, you see, I'm a chartered administrator, and I'm also a banker. You don't empower people by giving them money. Now, I stop. My outreach will stop empowering people October, that last month, because anybody that comes to you now during this Christmas period that I want to start a business, help me. If you give that money, it will go. So experience has shown that you don't empower people during Christmas. If you want to empower people, you must have to tell them to some level of training, empowerment. No, they let them. It is good you teach people how to fish than to give them fish every time. That is why we have high level of poverty in the north. Because they believe in one institution, strong man, an institution. Every day, rank a day, because the man feeds them. So that is why they obey. So if you want to investigate it, that's not the proper way to empower people. That's not the proper way to take people out of the poverty level. Poverty school, poverty kitchen, poverty homes. It's not the way to go about it. There must be a streamlined way to go about it. Have you forgotten? Even our present vice president, he was accused of misappropriating 90 billion or whatever, right? How can a whole vice president be going from one market to another? He's sharing money. Some people are getting a lot 30,000. Some people, why? Is that not madness? Is it a way to go for? Is it a way to move this country from the poverty level to? It is not.
How much of an impact?
Which one? Which strong one?
You said that's madness.
How much of an
impact?
If
it is not true, how can you say you are empowering people in the market? Have you ever seen where people are empowered in the market? Train them in their vacation. Train them. Let them tell you what they want to do. You send them on training. All right. After that, you now empower them. Look, that's what we call a revolving loan. I was the chairman of my welfare committee in the church where I was the chairman for 18 years. Right? And we have a system where we invited the widows. We asked them what they want to do. And we released some money. Those money, they come back. And we asked them, look, we made it such a way that they believe that they are going to return it. And the idea is that when they return it, we ask them to go and redeploy it again. So that we will not be monitoring it. Who monitors these ones? Nobody monitors it. Nobody. When you go to the market, Balogun market, give them money. Do you go there to monitor them? There must be checks and balances. There must be a system where maybe they form an association where you select. They will give their data. You will not screen them and empower them. Have a system, you check them. Are they in the system? So the idea is this: even when you down in your mind, you don't have the idea of recovering the money from, but at the end of the month, bring your repayment terms.
All right, let's
and we look at it. We see it. We so go and redeploy it so that your capital will be improving, and we know how faithful you are. But this one, who monitors it? Who monitors it? Can they give account of their stewardship? The answer is no. That is what, if what you are asking me is right. How is it out of 200 million people, 133, some say 133, some say 130, I still be, do you know what it is, to be poor in Nigeria? That is a person who cannot afford $1 a day. How many persons, the other was in the church, somebody sent me a text, Daddy, please help me with 1,000 naira to enable me eat with my family. Is that not worrisome? Doesn't it touch you? The level of poverty now.
All right, let's look at the indicators for this report. They talked about education, they talked about health, and living conditions and some other things. Now, if we are to start addressing poverty, the real way poverty should be addressed, how should we go about it? Looking at these indicators.
Education, as I mentioned, training. Before you empower people, you must know where his interest is. What the trade if it is selling of rice, I'm just like Obi said, he's a trader. If you want to empower somebody in trading, this commercial trading, you say which interest, rice, okay, go to a market, attach such person to somebody who sells rice. He'll be able to know where the source of bringing the rice, how much is a bag of rice, how much it contains, and the tricks about it. Right? Then you will now begin to monitor, and when he finishes or when he graduates, then you give him money, begin to monitor him. Then education is key. You must keep your records.
Okay,
you must keep your record. And a healthy person, is it not a healthy person that will be in that? You must provide a good environment. There must be, our health sectors, is it working? It's not working. Unless the ones in Lagos, what do you call it? This one they open here and
primary
there.
Health care.
Primary health. It's working in Lagos, but in my state, is it working? Nothing. You talk about education. Is the education working in my school, my state? Look at the primary school.
Report.
The primary school, nothing. Why has there been upsurge of private schools? It was because the government school failed. Education are talking about why is ASO and the government is saying
I'd like
one
to
thing.
bring something. I'd like us to pay attention to something here. When we look at that report, when we look at rural against urban poverty, we see that in the rural area, poverty is higher there. And then when we also look at, when we look at geopolitical zones in the north, poverty is higher there. Now, from what you're saying now, you're saying that primary healthcare education seems to work in Nigeria, in Lagos. Maybe because, it's to a very large extent, it's an urban area. Now, doesn't that mean we need to begin to pay attention to the rural areas? And who are the people in charge of these
now you
areas?
asked me a beautiful question. Do you know why? It is only a safety environment that people, there have been a lot of increase in migration from the rural to the, because yes, people who are supposed to go to farm, are they going to the farms? If they go to farm, will they come back alive? There's no light there. There's no water there. People will like to go where they will make their ends meet. That is why there has been upsurge in migration from urban, from rural to urban. Everybody, do you know the rate of people coming to Lagos every day? Because in Lagos they could manage. You can put a table in front of your house, you make sales. Right? That is why South is the level of development that is they are self-made. Because government is already, there's no industry, there's no federal government industry in the Southeast, and maybe except the one that are trying to, Ebo State is trying, but it was federal government. Recently, I think they also they've gone to Imo because it is APC government. So, if in those days,
As a place, I will have to go for a break now. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll continue from there. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. This is iBrandTV break. Glad to know you're still with us. And just before we wrap up the conversation, very quickly, we've been talking about the multidimensional poverty level of Nigeria. And Serap actually is saying to the presidency that the monies appropriated for, feeding and transportation, all of that, should be directed to getting Nigerians out of poverty. Do you agree with that?
And that's what it's supposed to be, but it's not what we are experiencing. When you make say this is for this, the intention is to take people out of the poverty level to this. We must see it work, but it's not working. You talked about people from rural to urban, because the rural are no longer safe. Those in the north, they cannot go to the farm. Those in the south, there's no level playing ground in the south for them to do. So that is why, if the roads are not there, the feeding money, what is it for? Who? Your children, are they being fed by school?
Okay,
by
I think
government?
let me say it more clearly now. They are saying that the presidency has appropriated some monies for itself in the 2023 budget.
You don't
So
expect me to say yes here. You don't expect me to say it here.
Well, that's what Serap said.
Yeah, but that's their own. I have not seen it. But what I'm saying that if such money has been appropriated to who, there must be proper investigation. We must know what and what. Let them give us report. Let us know the breakdown. Who has benefited, what they use it for. But unfortunately, Serap is quite. But then it's an allegation, right? Or are you saying that it hasn't been convicted?
Okay, this is it. What Serap is saying is now presidency. You have appropriated some monies for yourself, for your feeding, transportation, and some other things in the 2023.
Okay, for himself.
For them.
Okay,
out of that money, so spending all that.
I got your question. I thought they were accusing him.
No, not.
But all the same, it has been like that. Some of this money should have been diverted to alleviating the poverty level in the country. Also talked about diverting it to transport sector, because the roads are not there. The rest are only here. The railway lines are only in the west and Abuja, not in the east. So it should be channeled towards that. Do you know why they will not do that? They don't use the roads. They use air. That is why when there was problem with the aviation industry, they quickly fixed it. But then the road, do you know how much it is from here to the east? So these are the areas. I'm not saying that you should not no amount of money should be appropriated to the presidency for feeding and things, because he's our #1 citizen. We have to feed him, we have to clothe him, we have to do everything. Just like the governor, the Lagos State governor, the Lagos State is feeding him everything. So I cannot say outrightly it should be. But some money should be. It's on the high side anyway. It's on the high side. Out of that, some of money should be diverted or should be channeled towards alleviating people's problem, because the poverty level I think has gone beyond the roof. So having said that, we also have to make sure that people who have conscience are in government. The president, we thought that, I remember I read his story sometime when one of the reporters came. He said he made him using fan. Was it Yaradua? So he used fan. He hadn't this thing. He was eating rice with jollof rice on the bare floor, lying down on the floor on the mat. We had thought that the president, like I said, was a gentleman before now. We saw him as a gentleman, but what has come out of it, I may not say that it is himself, but those around him are the one who has spoiled this country. But then uneasy lies here that wears a crown. Fish now, if the head is rotting, it affects the body. If one finger touches or it affects the rest. So we are calling him because he is the father of the nation. It's because he is the head of state. He's the leader, is the father of the nation. So what if Nigeria is going bad? He's the one going bad.
Right.
If Nigeria is doing well, we clap up for him.
Mazi. This is where we'll have to draw the curtain. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mazi.
It's my pleasure.
You take it away.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversations for today. Stay with us.